Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Omar Sawi with the Islam Media team. I am your host for tonight. Tonight, we're doing something a little bit different, and I'm really excited. And inshallah, it goes well, and all of our buttons and technical things work well. I'm going to bring in my esteemed guests with some background music. So, welcome, Mr. Arif Khan.
Assalamualaikum.
And the one and only,
Nice being on the other side without having to press all the buttons here.
right? And the only Mr. Butch.
Luxury!
Boys.
And everybody's favorite podcaster, Mr. Hanan Ghafoor.
Assalamualaikum.
Nan, good to have you back, buddy.
All right. So, boys, this week we are doing something a bit different. We've changed up the format a little bit, and we've taken a page from Pardon the Interruption. So, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be having a look at the topics on the left.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, we are, and so again, just something a little bit lighter, something a little bit loose. Feel free to interrupt.
Bucks,
And
stop flexing. See, I was just trying the interruption.
there you go. Right, so
Look at him.
he even has
He
some
even put tape on his elbow.
I know he's. I don't know what he's doing.
Physio.
But he's doing physio right now, boys. So so we're gonna get started, and we're gonna start with the first game of the night, which was Ihsan versus Iman. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna throw up the score. Sorry, Iman versus Ihsan. So as you guys can see, they got their first win. I'm going to start a timer on the side here just to kind of keep you boys in check. And I'll buzz you when the time is up. So let's go for it.
I mean, I'll start it off. This is a huge change for Iman. I think Adnan Gunga, first star, this is his first game playing. I think they picked him up from a waiver pickup. A huge pickup for the team because, we always talked about, week over week, this team's slow, this team's old, everyone's a veteran, but, it stepped up. We saw that young, aggressiveness from Adnan, amazing shot, has speed, and he really stepped up for his team. And it's not just Iman himself. I think they also had a goalie in net that was not typically their usual goalie. Shiraz Mahmoud is his name. Fantastic. Honestly, lights out. I think it's not only the fact that Iman did well with having this new player, Adnan, step up for them, but the goalie also played a huge part in this, in the victory overall for Iman. And, part of it is not the fact that, Ihsan Red was not playing well. I mean, again, let me try it again. They were playing terrible because I was watching this game and number 91, Salman Saeed.
Tell us how you really feel.
And Bilal Hafiz. Both have amazing shots, but none of their shots are hitting the net. They're shooting at everything. They're shooting at the people watching. They're shooting at the ref. But, if you're not going to shoot at the net, you're not making things difficult for the goalie. And I think they did make, an easy life for Shiraz. But whenever he did have to step up, he 100% did step up. And, just to kind of push at that last point, watching the power play, I think, again, I saw Salman Saeed. One of the things I like to tell players, you got to have that 360 view of what's going on. And there was one play, Salman had the ball, and there was a wide open. I don't know if it was Dawood or someone, and he just didn't pass the ball. And it was like, yo, come on, man! Like, you gotta pass that ball. Not a blind pass, but eyes up during the power play.
I'm going to interrupt you there, Hanan, because you're missing one key person on Iman. Ali Wadi.
Ali Wadi, yes.
Ali Wadi changes this team. Him and Adnan just changed the face of Iman. Now, let's give credit to Jihad or Abdullah or whoever was making those trades and waivers. Whoever was calling the shots on that stuff, that was Iman was hungry for a change, and they had a facelift today. It was
you got to give Jihad credit because not only did he bring in Ali Wadi, but he also made sure he got him to play on that same week. So kudos for some GM shenanigans right there.
Yeah, and you can tell. Yeah, Shadow GM. No, you can tell. What's his face? You can tell. Ali Wadi made a different change. Adnan did change it. Listen, they changed the dynamic of Iman. They were a much faster team. The average age went down by 5 years. Everything went well for Iman. And I gotta give, as much as we want to harp on Red Isan, I gotta give kudos to Iman. They showed up that game, and you can give a non-Gungad credit. I don't care about the timer.
Hit that buzzer. Hit that buzzer.
Welcome to the league.
There you go. You should have done that before on Bucks.
I was trying. It's just
Finish.
The other buzzer is way too polite. You need the.
I do have to say, ladies and gentlemen, because I do know we have some of the players' wives that watch this. This job is very hard. So kudos to Arif. Yes, kudos to Arif, because this is way harder than he makes it look.
Well, I'm grateful to both you and Imad for stepping up and taking over the hosting duty. So now I can just relax and be a guest. So I'm enjoying this.
Well, there you go. We enjoy having you in any role, Arif. Moving on to the next game, we had Ikhlas versus Sabr, and I'm just gonna throw this up for you guys, and let's go.
So I was in this game, so I can start it off. And I want to start off on a sober note on this in the beginning, because there was way too many penalties. I have to say that it's because well, the way people were playing this game, you'd think they weren't. They're a little delusional with the way that they're hacking at each other. There's 4 unsportsmanlike penalties. That no bueno. You can't do that in a Muslim ball hockey league. Like, at the end of the day, we're all brothers. We all got work on Monday. But the other problem is that there was, I think, 10 penalties in total between the two teams. Realistically, that shouldn't happen. Regardless of what's happening, you're crippling your own team when you have to play on the power play or the PK. And to be honest, a lot of the step up that happened was on Ikhlas. They benefited from having the power play. They had the 1 power play goal. But overall, I want to give a few shout outs quickly. Omar Sawi, I honestly think you had a terrible first few weeks, and I think this is your coming out game. You had a bullet of a shot, and it was the Padinen Isawi shot. And honestly, if Sabr can see that,
you can see a swagger at that.
Oh yeah, you saw 100%. You saw the swagger. He walked back to the bench and he's like, yeah, that was me. That was all me. And then Yusuf Saudargar, great game.
Hold on.
The hardest shot in the league at some point in the game. I don't know.
Let's give his man his due. Yusuf Saudargar, come on.
Yeah.
You gotta give up to him. Hat trick.
You score a hat trick, you get your own theme song.
Beautiful.
Didn't I say in the beginning of the season he's gonna have a breakout season? Didn't I? Someone quote me on that, please. I said he's gonna do much better, and he has.
Actually, you say so many random things. One of them is bound to click.
I know.
You know what, man? 60% of the time, it works 100% of the time. So, good on him. And honestly, it was just great to see. Ibrahim Hindi sparked us in the halftime huddle and called out everyone and said we all need to play better, and everyone hustled. I think it was a great effort. But you know what? Let's give.
I got to interrupt you there. I got to interrupt you there and say that also some credit is due on the Ikhlas side, because it was nice to see RC back, first of all, right? I mean, the guy, he was injured and he still played. I hope he's healing well. So, I'm glad to see him back there. But yeah, they also have to play better, though. I mean,
I think they had a lot of injuries, though, Arif. Like, I think RC was injured, Shariar was injured, Abdur Rahman Butter may have been injured the way he was playing.
Idris Dean was away.
Idris Dean was there, yeah. That's a tough one to swallow as well, yeah.
And Maju was injured. No, he was fine. Never mind.
Maju actually made a lot of key saves. And the thing, when Maju's made a great save and he's robbed someone, is that, his hand will go like, boom, he's got it. And he'll look at you like he's just like, I got it. What are you going to do about it? He just drops it in front of you. And it's like, not only is he saving it, but he's also disrespecting you. And I mean, good for him. I mean, he deserves it. You're going to make a good save. Preach it.
I have been the victim of the Maju hand wave many times.
Are we going to later on talk about any of the trades that happened? Because
we are.
Okay. Because let's remember this game when we talk about one of the trades that happened earlier today.
There's a couple of things that we got to talk about with regards to transactions, but yes, we will get to it. Then moving on to Yakin versus Haya. Arif, you were in this game. Do you want to kick it off?
This was I guess one of the first times where we had pretty much our entire team, minus Samad, but we had Madni, who sort of got leased to us for a week, and it was very nice to have him. He's a mashallah, a wonderful brother. So Madni, thank you for playing the game with us and for contributing. But as you can see, this was the Adil Johan show, pretty much. The brother, as usual, he dominated. And as you can see, all 3 stars were from Yakin. I think this was our first win. All the other ones were ties and a loss. So we really needed this one big time. So very happy to come back with the W.
Here's my thing is, respectfully, Yakin did well. I still think that one of those stars should have gone to Haya. The 2 goals that Haya has scored, I thought they were incredible. I think the second goal is from Hashim Chaudhry. This was pure individual effort. I know, Zain Muqaddam and Ibrahim Khan got the assist, but I think it got to the point where once he had it, he went through Yakin's team, he shot it, got his own rebound, and scored off of that. So for me, that was huge from Haya's end. And I was never a big fan of Haya in the beginning, but I want to say, Mohammed Hamoudi, Hamoudi, as a nickname, I thought he had an amazing game. He was everywhere that you'd want him to be. He had a few missed golden opportunities. I think there was a one-on-one with him and the goalie, and he just outdangled himself, and it just went too far. And then there was that. I think what was that play? There's one thing I really wanted to talk about. So Haya Ibrahim Khan, this one thing I don't like to see what players do is that, if you're running the ball in, you have one of your players standing at the blue line waiting, do not pass it to the guy that's standing still. He has no speed. He has no movement. You already have the momentum. Just run it past the blue line, especially if you have it. And I saw a few times Ibrahim Khan swept it before he got to the blue line. The guy just standing there. For me personally, I don't think that's the right move. Just run it in. Get that confidence to just run it in.
We should also remember for Hayat, they were missing a key ingredient on their team, and that's Lukman, right? I mean, he's the heart and soul of that team, and without him, they were a different team.
Yeah, I don't think they played bad, to be honest. Like, from when I watched it, I thought it seemed a lot closer. Granted, the score speaks otherwise, but it did seem a lot closer. I don't know if you felt that, or if while playing, like.
No, I think we played pretty well. We did get a couple of power play goals, so that obviously makes a difference. But I'll tell you this: the first period, we, at least from our perspective, we felt that we really dominated. We were all over them, and we played really well, except for the last 45 seconds of that first period when we got scored 2 goals back to back. Other than that, that was as close as a perfect period as we've played in a long time. And then again, in the second half, we picked it back up, but it was just that little blip in the middle.
That's fair.
Give a shout out to Umar Mahmoud, man. I think he's been playing great and finally got a chance to get some assist out there. Arif, I know you really like him, and I always liked him, but he's
of course I like him. That's why I drafted him.
He's been showing what he's worth.
Also, big shout out to Azhar, man. He played a really, really great game.
Energizer Zuffer.
Solid.
Energizer Zuffer. I've never heard that one before. All right, and the last game of the night, which was we billed as the game of the night to watch, was Rida, Takwa versus Rida. And so why don't you start us off, Hanan?
Yeah, so there's 2 things I saw here that really just stood out to me. One was, and this is one of my recommendations for all players. So I think it was Takwa, it was Adam Mufta. It was a tie game 1-on-1. Rida was behind the net, their own net, and Adam Mufta, ran by to get him. But the thing is, if you don't have anyone supporting you and you're running behind the net, especially for Adam Mufta, I'm not nothing disrespectful, but if you're a bit on the slower side, you're gone. That's already going to be a 5-on-4 play heading back the other way. Do not do that. Do not do that unless you have support, someone supporting you to go behind the net, because I think that was a huge error I saw on Takwa's end. And then from Yakin's side, one of the things I really wanted to shout out was Mohamed Kazi. He scored his goal after missing an open net against Rida. So, it was a huge goal because, I think everyone on the stand was just like, well, Kazi, you must be, if anyone's going to miss the open net, it can't be your GMs. But, he recuperated and he ended up scoring the goal right after that. So a huge shout out to him for, resuscitating, I would call it. But, we saw a lot of bad plays from Rida's side. I think Irfan Benapatel had 2 penalties for roughing. So a little too much gym time with Umar, apparently. And
hey, man, he wanted strength. I got him in there.
That's atypical. That's not normal of Irfan to get those type of penalties. So something must have.
He wanted to bump up his strength, and Kazi felt it.
Oh,
I know we're going to talk about this later, but with the Rida dominance. But hey, man, they won again, regardless of what you're saying. They're undefeated.
Zaid Khaler.
Zaid Khaler, yeah,
kid is
definitely the silent knight. He doesn't say much, but he steps up, and I think he's only getting better and taller, apparently.
And I mean, I didn't get to see this game, but I'm curious to know the assessment of a guy like Solomon Nakuda, because
I
he's
was
built
just gonna say his name.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, honestly, he's really impressed me coming in. Just looks like he has a very good awareness of where he needs to be and what he needs to do. Just looks like overall great experience, and he's that veteran leadership that they could probably use in Rida. They have a lot of guys that know how to play, but so far, I really like what he sees, and he's a good brother. He plays well and he plays hard, and he does what he needs to do. Like Chris Chelios type, just does what he needs to do.
Yeah, and mashallah, probably the most in shape person. Sorry, Bucks, I'm gonna have to say this. He's probably the most in shape person in our league. So
I don't care. Can he bench?
But does he have 1,000 followers on Instagram like my man Bucks?
I think he actually has over. He does
Really?
the Raptors. Yeah, so I mean, he has Bucks beat on two fronts right now.
Yeah,
so.
but Bucks is following more people than follows him, so he's probably doing follow for follow shenanigans there.
I'm
So
following one right now.
Mindless followers. Here's my thing about the Duckwa Rida game. I liked them because they're both power forward type of mentality teams. But to be honest, watching the game, Rida looked like they had Duckwa's number. I think they spent more time in Duckwa's zone than Duckwa spent in Rida's zone, and a lot of it has to do with line matchups. I've seen a lot of incorrect matchups. The top line, or with Huzaifa Punchbai would be on with Rida, and all of a sudden you'd have what looked like Duckwa's the second or third line. And I don't know if it's just about you don't know the assignments when Huzaifa Punchbai is on, but you need a specific way to play, because he's either going to draw the penalty or he's going to get someone open because he's drawing too many people towards him. And I think especially other teams are going to play against Rida. As you said, they're undefeated. You got to get a game plan in place for these guys.
All right, awesome, boys. And we're going to go into a little bit of analysis now. So this is the new part of the podcast where we pick some topics we think that are important to discuss and to analyze. So one issue has just been, and we have our boy Imad up there. So one issue has just been, I don't know if anything's broken per se, but I mean, they haven't won a game yet.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong.
I think they would beg to differ.
Yeah. But here, think about this. Think about who's in their division, because those are the teams that they tied, right? They tied every single team in their division. So it goes to show that they can win it.
They're competitive.
They're competitive. It's just that they don't have that. I think every goal was like at the last minute, or maybe it's just that they don't play the full 30 minutes.
Yeah, but then they lost to the other division.
Yeah, they lost to a resuscitated Iman though. But what can you expect? It was Ali Wadi and Mr. Could have been player of the week.
Are you trying to get traded back to Ali Wadi's team? Now that your mentor is back, is that the plan? Hanan, come on.
I'm not trying to do anything. All I'm saying is that
Jihad wasn't there. Hussein wasn't there.
Sorry, Omar, you need to have a separate column here just for Hanan. Hanan trade watch to Ali Wadi.
Here's the thing about Isan. They have one of the lowest goals against. So defensively, they are a sound team, but they also have one of the lowest goals for. So, what you might be looking for is how can they produce more for Isan? Because that's what they might be looking for.
Yeah, but that was the story last year too, right? I mean, Imad and I were on that team, and we had very low scoring games, and we could definitely keep the ball out of our net, but we just couldn't put the ball in anybody else's net. And so they have the team is revamped. I don't think they have very many repeat players. But that being said, I do think that they may want to think about mixing it up a little bit. Something has to give, right? You need to score more. And I mean, my point was Iman didn't have Riaz. Iman didn't have Jihad. And so I think that, is in the next point, but I think that Ihsan should have had a better showing against a shorthanded Iman.
That's right.
Yeah, there's nothing really wrong with Ihsan with respect to, but they're just not clicking to finish. They can't just finish the game. They can get right to the edge, but they can't finish it.
You and your finish.
But
weren't you finished last week with your finishes?
No, but they're actually a much better team this year. I just think maybe they're gripping the stick a little too hard and maybe trying to get too many passes in. Keep it a little more simpler, like 2 passes instead of 3, and just try and get on net.
So here's my thing about Isan. If you just randomly show up in the middle of a game progressing and you watch their game and you know nothing about the score, you know nothing about what the standings are, you'd think that this is a team that's probably sitting on the top of their division.
Yep.
They play really well. When you
Yep.
watch them, they got good players up front. They got amazing defensive core. They're set. They once if I guess if and when inshallah they figure it out, they will be a really good and hard team to play against. But right now it's just not clicking, and it happens sometimes. Sometimes it takes you half a season, unfortunately, to figure it out. Hopefully they don't spend more time. Well, actually, I hope they do because they're in our division. But yeah, you know what I mean.
I mean, they haven't gotten blown away yet, though. So
Yeah.
they're close, right? Every game seems pretty close.
All right.
Yes.
Moving on. In the same vein, we have our boy Abdullah
Shout out
Patel.
GM.
Yeah, he's watching up there. So we thought we'd give
Shadow
him
GM.
we thought we'd give him a little recognition here on the podcast, and so again, Iman definitely had a facelift. We can talk a little bit about Ali Wadi and maybe cover one of the transactions now. And Ali
ahead,
Wadi.
Dude was trying to make trades with me and at the rink. I'm like, "Where are you? Do you have permission from your GMs to speak on their behalf?" He's like, "Yeah, don't worry, I got permission."
He's moving fast. He
I know.
doesn't. I will say this. Abdullah Patel. I remember last week he told me because I was like, your team's probably not going to make the playoffs. You must be disheartened. He's like, don't worry about it. Wait till next week. And I feel like he knew something was up, and I'm happy to see that they won. And I think I don't think Jihad is done making moves and pickups, and I think this team's just going to continuously get better. And I like the way it's starting to shape up.
You don't see Abdullah Patel finishing up any more trades, or what's happening now? I think he's looking.
He might be the new shadow GM on that team. Jihad's not there. Someone had to step up, and Abdullah Patel.
Ali Wadi's there. I think he'll take care of it.
Ali Wadi's there now. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we trust.
Incoming trade for Hanan.
And to that point, we could talk a little bit because Iman has had some moves as well in the past week. So obviously, I mean, everybody saw Ali Wadi at the rink. We didn't formally announce it though. But Yusuf Solomon has withdrawn from the league. He's not able to commit, and through much persuasion and persistence, Abdullah Patel has convinced his uncle Ali Wadi to join.
Please help us.
Yeah, to try to right the ship.
Abdullah, what was the deal? Did you promise to cut his lawn for like the next 2 seasons or something? There's got to be something there.
There has to be something.
I think Bucks, you need to get on this and investigate.
And in the second transaction that involves Iman, Ali Mahmoud from Sabr, he's withdrawn due to injury. And a brother by the name of Saif Ansari was brought up as a replacement for him. And in true Jihad fashion, he has claimed every waiver pickup that has come through so far. And so
no one is safe. Not even safe.
There you go.
Maybe that's a strategy. Maybe that's a strategy every season. Just tank, be the last team, and then just pick up all the waivers and pray that people are dropping out.
Well, that makes me question one of the rules here. I know it's probably not on topic here, but Semi, Iman just was able to pick up anything. In fact, in the GM chat group, the running joke was claim, because it seemed like anything that went through, Jihad just claimed. So, Omar, would it be something that the league is going to review in terms of when you claim, you go to the back of the line?
Back of the bus.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that there are a number of things that we have made a list of things that we need to talk about. So the waiver system is one of the things on the list. Just trying to make it equitable and fair for everyone. But we typically, actually, from my experience in the league, we haven't really had this many waiver claims at the beginning of the season. At least from the time that I've joined at the hangar. I don't know what happened before then, but
clearly Jihad took that as a challenge.
There you go.
Challenge accepted.
But to finish off the transaction, though, Jihad claimed Saif Ansari from the waivers and sent Abdul Wahab, our boy Wahab, has joined Sabr as compensation. And so the transaction is in effect for the upcoming week, and we wish both players success in the league. I don't know Saif Ansari very well, but I have heard that he's a very steady type of defenseman, and he knows his position well. So curious to see how he does.
situation a little bit harder than it already is.
Yeah, and I think Sabra has a pretty good defense as it is, so it's going to be interesting. Sorry, Iman has a pretty good defense as it is, and so it's going to be because with Riaz and Coco, and then you have a stay-at-home defenseman, and then you have Zuhair.
Hey, the buzzer sounded. Move on.
I'm controlling this podcast, sir.
Follow your own rules.
Clearly, he was anxious to get onto his teammate.
I got to talk about my boy Hussein.
Yeah, so I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to be very strict on this, Harv. So.
Sure, of course you are. All the rules are strict with me. Yeah. So Hussein Malik. So, mashallah, this brother, we saw him last year on Haya, and he came in halfway through the season and made a huge difference. And in the draft, he was one of the guys that I was targeting, and they even told my co-GMs that I don't care, I'm picking this guy. They didn't know who he was or where he should be, but I took a gut chance. And I think it paid off because literally the pick after me was going to be Lukman, and he had to call a timeout in the draft because he really wanted this guy. And it shows why. This man has been a scoring machine since joining, mashallah. I think he's leading the league right now, right? 5 goals, 6 points. Yeah.
He has 80% of your goals.
Yeah, pretty much. I think between him and Hamza, they have like all the goals on our team.
It just speaks to good drafting, right? I mean, you had Hamza Gaya, and we're not talking about him necessarily, but you picked him second last, right? So that was diamond in the rough, if you will. And just Hussein has been he's a big body, very physical. Even looks like Akib a little bit. So and so he I don't know where he learned how to play, but he definitely learned from someone really good because he just has a nose for the net, right? And he doesn't do anything too flashy. Like he's not there dangling and deking everyone out. But
he did on the second. He did on the second game.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I think it was
Zuhair fancy.
Yes, Zuhair will beg to differ.
And then he scored, and then everyone was like, "Oh, it's insane, Malik, man! That was insane, Malik!" Like he was having nicknames all of a sudden thrown out about him, and then a week later, Kazi traded Zoo. So you got a player that's the type of player that actually can destroy teams because you get deked out by Hussein Malik. All of a sudden, you're getting traded.
The best thing about that goal, more so than the goal, was the celly after. He just like walked in like a boss. So it's awesome.
that would be the Asawi celebration, but that's
exactly. So inshallah, he's only going to get better as he gets more confidence and plays more. Mashallah, we've got a star here in the making. Inshallah.
Can you speak to his like? I mean, again, I don't want to compare him to his uncle, right? But Akib is known for his, as like the Bergeron of the league, right? He has a very two-way game. Does Hussein mimic that defensively, or is he something that's more of an offensive threat at the moment?
I think they're different players, different style of players, obviously. Akib is, as we know, your quintessential two-way forward, right?
Hussein
is more of a power forward.
Mm.
Right. He's going to go into the corners, drag it out. He's going to make some nice moves. And I think as he gets bigger and stronger, he's going to be much more difficult to handle.
Yeah, well, I don't think he drafted this in the 4th round moving forward again.
Hussein, I think you need to recite your 3 kuls every night. Make sure you don't have any kind of curses on you, bro.
Nazar on you right now.
Through a few mashallahs, after you give those.
Evil eye. So inshallah.
I'm going to actually pause it for a second, and we're going to talk a little bit about our player of the week.
Who's this guy?
This guy is. And so he had their game, and one thing about Yusuf is he's incredibly fast.
Yeah.
He's incredibly fast, almost deceptively so, and he reminds me. And I don't know if maybe it should be reversed, but I've played with Hamza Ali before, and just his initial sprint and just the way that they can control the ball at very very high speeds is very very impressive, right? So. Hats off Yusuf, and he went from having no goals, I think, to like 4 now. I think he's 4 or 5.
4 or 5 now.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I think he took it a little bit personally, and he held himself to a really high standard, and he's performing, and he is leading the team, right?
Yeah, and he's definitely leading the team.
Amazing job.
It's not bad for a guy who just came out of retirement.
Right.
I think he heard that Huzaifa was trying to trade him. He's like, I gotta step up.
Well, I mean, in that same vein, maybe we should talk about the trade because Subway did just make a trade, and it hasn't been publicized yet on social media. But you heard it here first on the iSlam podcast, where
I don't even
breaking.
heard about this.
Bam.
Yes, actually, I don't even think the Subway team knows about this yet. I think
man.
We
there was
don't.
a trade.
They don't
All
know
the more
this.
reason to listen to the podcast. Give them a reason.
Yeah. So with regards to Subway, they had made a trade. So brace yourself for this one. Right. This is we'll give it a little trade alert. We have a 6-person trade happening between Sabr and Ikhlas. So yeah,
Ikhlas?
yes, with
Ikhlas?
Yes.
Green.
Hanan
Yes,
doesn't
they
even
just
know.
played
He
against.
doesn't even know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
he
played
So they
doesn't.
just beat up each other and they're like, all right, let's hello.
Yeah.
Let's-
Let's make
each
up
other
that
in the
trade player. And so the trade goes as follows: from Sabr, Mohammed Patel, which is Badger,
Badger.
Zahid Hussein, and Taha Azhar are going to Ikhlas for Zaid Maju, Ahmed Ibrahim, and
Habibi
Maz.
things.
Okay,
And
so
who's the last one?
Blockbuster.
Maz Panchbaya.
Maz
And-
Punch Baya.
Yeah, and I mean, if you guys want to quickly break this down a little bit, I think
Do you have a
you know,
poster for this? It might
Not yet.
not yet. I
Okay.
think
Oh.
I do believe the media team made one, but I didn't have enough time to put it into the
It'll
podcast.
be on social soon. Don't worry.
It will be on social soon. But with regards to the the analysis, yeah, any thoughts, boys?
So it's an interesting. I think this is just a definitely a shuffle going on. I think Maz Punchbaya is has the potential to be the steal of this six player trade. I think a goalie shuffle is probably something that's nice. I think both goalies are solid. Naturally, I always believe that Mohammed Patel. I think it was the first goalie picked overall. That's a huge trade to trade away for. I mean, you're talking about Zaid Maju who won the cup last season. So, it's going to be good for both teams to get that refresh on the
Mohammed
back end.
Patel was not the first.
He
goalie
was
to be
second
picked.
or third.
Oh, is he second or third?
Yeah.
He was one of the first few then. But I think Taha's game, he's a really fast, can play forward, play defense, very versatile player. And I think that kind of fits with Ikhlas's, whole team. They got a bunch of, quick players on their team.
I think you're speaking from Yellow, same as you. I think Yellow got maybe a little more upside on scoring with Maz, and they gave up a little. Well, I shouldn't say they gave up. It's all up in the air. Habibi brings the hustle, so I think Taha also brings the hustle. So Habibi brings a little more size. We gave up a little more speed. Ahmed Ibrahim was very fast as well. So I think it was just it was a shuffle around to get maybe the people they wanted into the places they wanted.
Is this a trade that's made for the sake of making a trade, just to shake things up, or was there actually pieces that were required that each team fulfilled?
Husley's
no
love
idea.
fest with Zaid Maju.
No, I think that
Zayd's awesome, man. He won the cup last year.
What?
No, I
What
love
else for
him.
Hot Zaid? Last season Subber traded for Zaid Maju and they won at the end of the day. So, I mean,
I think that if I had to give my 2 cents on the trade, I mean, I wasn't necessarily consulted or anything like that, but I would just, if I had to think, I would say that one of the troubles that maybe we've had is relying on our first line for a lot of the scoring, and with the exception of last game, right? Last game, but again, Sodergaard had to score 3 goals last game for us to win the game, including the game-winning goal. And so I think that we were willing to, or Sabra was willing to sacrifice a little bit of speed for some secondary scoring potential. And I think they got that in with Ahmed Ibrahim and Maz, where Taha Azhar is extremely fast and very tenacious on the ball. But I think thus far was not able to put the ball in the net, right, or create the chances that maybe they thought he was gonna create. And so I think that adding Maz and Ahmed really, maybe the hope is really that will add some scoring touch, right? Right. So let's see
I
how
think
fans.
Subber needed that. I think Subber needed a little bit more of that, like natural goal scorers on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm going to quickly run through some of the league announcements that we typically do on a weekly basis. So again, QR codes. Actually, that's actually canceled. So we are not going to be required to show QR codes anymore.
Nice.
The screening is canceled, and that actually means that we are allowed to have spectators again. So as of this Friday, you do not need to show your QR code. and you are able to come in. Pictures, if we haven't taken them yet, we will ask you to take one. Jerseys, especially if you've been traded, you need to swap your jersey with the person that you've been traded. Just give it to your GMs. The GMs are expected to do it.
Wash it beforehand.
Yes, wash it. Masks still need to be worn. There were 2 players that were disciplined, as in suspended from the league due to vaping. So clearly, the reminder last week was not heeded, and so just so everybody knows, we do take it seriously. They have been suspended for 1 game. We're not going to name them, obviously. And the last one, spectators obviously are involved. So I know Baksh has to go, so we are going to quickly try to run through this with my best friend, Anrida. So Rida seems to be unstoppable right now. And are you guys able to give us some insight into why?
Man, I mean, honestly, here's the thing: is I've watched the games, and I don't think the reason they're unstoppable has to do defensively speaking. I think they're just so dominant on the offensive zone that they actually tire out the other team's lines, and you're almost like forced to make a quick shift at that point, and then and it's just constant. Like each line just rolls. I don't know if it's just like what's happening, but mashallah, all 3 lines on Rida's offensive side is just clicking, and they're just constantly just steamrolling people. And I think their weakness is that you gotta almost, you can't go punch for punch. You can't just be like, well, we'll be just as offensive, because they're very versatile like that. I think you have to figure out a way to shut down Huzaifa Punchfire, Adil Patel, and you got these secondary guys like Irfan Bana Patel, Imran Lakanpal, Khizr Lakanpal, and like a lot of speed and tenacity on that team. That's what I see.
No, so you know what? I'm going to say this. You try and stop Adil Patel, you can't. You try and stop Huzli, you can't. And then what happens is you go down, then you have Asif Bika. Very, very tough guy to stop one-on-one. Then you have Imran Lock and Pop. He has a shot that goes through everything. And like even Kashif scoring, like the reemergence of Kashif as well. So we have everyone kind of scoring, and it's not even about defense at this point. Their defense is playing solid. It's just they're clicking. Everyone's playing their role, and they're rolling.
Let me call Hanan out a little bit here, or just put you on the pedestal here.
Yeah.
Before the season started, you were vocal about having a GM,
Yep,
or a goalie as a GM.
Yep.
Clearly, it's been working. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I'm eating my own sock, shoe, or my own words, whatever you want to call it. But
I
like
think something else.
Zaid Kalair, yes, sorry, Zaid. Zaid Kalair.
He's a jock.
But I mean, no, you're right. Like I didn't think they would be this strong. But to be honest, to be fair, I think Huzaifa Punchaba, getting that as the first round pick has been the key difference maker as well. Not to dispute anything else.
Of course,
but
yeah.
I do think Huzaifa, when it comes to your first round pick, I think he was on another level compared to the other first round picks.
And I think that if they didn't get first overall pick, I think that it might be a different conversation at this point, right? But I think Hanan did mention this in the second podcast. That the best scenario for them worked out in that they got the first overall pick, right?
I think their GM also, Mr. Patel, there he's playing differently this season versus the other seasons. I think he's involving his team a lot more. At least in the limited amount of times I've seen them play, because their game seems to be always before or after mine, so I can never watch the full game. But anyways, he's definitely using his team more, and he's getting the most out of everyone he drafted. So yeah, kudos to him, and GM of the year, front runner, I would say.
Oh. I lost my.
It's funny. They have a lot of players that have multi-points as well on their team. So I mean, at least 6 players have 2 or more points thus far on that team.
Yeah. All right. And to the last slide, or the last point, we need more. So the purpose of this one is just trying to figure out the individuals that can probably give a little bit more to their teams. And so
I'll go first on this one. Oh, Bucks left. Yeah. As soon as we need more, Bucks leaves.
I know. We're gonna.
How ironic. He couldn't finish again. So I think I'll call myself out first of all. I gotta play better on my team. Alhamdulillah, we have the youngsters on our team who are carrying all the load. But as a GM and someone who's been pretty high on the scoring sheet the last few seasons, I think I have like 1 point all season. So yeah, I'm gonna call myself out first.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw 3 names on here. I got Daoud, GM for Isan, 0 points thus far. Defensively has been sound, but you need to get your GMs on the scoreboard. Jihad, 0 points. Defensively sound, need to get your GMs on the scoreboard. Vasim Kagzi, stellar performance last season. I know he's defense, but 0 points as well. And I think the team's going in the right direction, but I think they'll benefit more if he starts.
But he's been playing really well, though.
I think he's been playing well, but
Yeah.
I think usually we see a little bit more offensive, and it might be the fact that they've just been short bench, so he can't play his normal style of game. And I think if people start showing up, we'll start to see Vasim Kagzi, cutting in a little bit more.
All right,
Fair enough.
awesome. Thank you, boys. I will call myself out as well. I mean, I had a goal, but I mean, this has been not carrying over from last season, so definitely want to improve that. Okay, we're gonna quickly. We don't have time to preview the games per se, but I am going to invite you guys to make some predictions for me. And so, can each of you predict the winner of the 8 p.m. game?
Rida.
Arf?
I would say Rida just because of how they've done, but Ikhlas with their recent transaction, it's a big question mark. So I'll throw in a flyer. I'll say Ikhlas.
I think the problem right now is that I still think RC is injured. I think Sheriard might still be coming off an injury. I think Ikhlas just needs this is a rest day for them. If you're injured, just take it off. Don't push yourself too much.
Okay. 9 p.m. Iman versus Yakin.
Oh, you know what? The way Iman has been rolling, I want to say Iman. I know Arif, you're looking at me like, but I think this would be. I actually think this is probably my game of the night. I would say I'm actually really excited to see how this one plays out, but I will give it to Iman.
Obviously, I'm going to say my team, of course. I will say one thing though. One of the approaches we've taken in our team this year is we don't worry about which team we're playing on any given week. At least not now, not until the playoffs. We focus more on improving our game each week. So, I think we're in a good spot, and we're going to make it hard.
All right, Suburb versus Takwa at 10 p.m.
So this one, 100%. Well, I'm leaning towards Stucco on this one, to be honest. Yeah, I'm on Suburb, but to be honest, I think with the
You really want to get traded.
I don't. It's not that I want to be traded. It's just listen. Like you can't expect to have.
Why do you pick up the phone, man?
You can't have Yusuf to have a 3-point game every week. The rest of the team needs to step up. And it really depends on attendance at this time around. I don't know who's showing up for Suburb, but like we need to see more from the rest of the team. It's just the rest of the team needs to step up.
All right, Arif, any input?
I think it's probably going to be Takwa, even though Suburb made some changes. Takwa's just been a really good team, so I'm going to go lean towards them.
All right, last game of the night: Haya versus Ihsan.
So in true Ihsan fashion, probably a tie game. But if not, I will say that I think Haya will have the edge for this game.
I'm going to say if Luke shows up, it's a Haya win.
All right. Okay, boys, we are just about out of time, and so I thank you guys for joining us today, and I hope that everybody liked the new format. Give us some feedback. We weren't throwing up comments as much because there's a lot to manage on the back end. We'll figure it out, inshallah. But they do give us the feedback when you guys see us at the rink or through other channels. And thank you guys for coming out. And Arif, Hanan. Until next time, guys.
And good job, Omar. Great job on all the overlays and stuff. So you're just taking it to the next level. So thank you.
That's what we do.
On Friday, then, inshallah.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, boys. Assalamu alaikum.